Hey everyone, can everyone see me or
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
We can see you, Charles. Welcome,
how
welcome to
are
India.
you? How are you?
All
Fine,
good.
fine.
Good
So, so,
morning.
so,
Good
so nice,
morning.
so nice to have you in this session after we have been interacting a few times in Twitter X.
I love what you guys are doing, and it's an honor to be a part of it. It's so refreshing to see this movement, you know?
So I'll just finish the introduction first. And Charles, just to give you a perspective of who we are and what we do. So first of
Yeah,
all, I'm Shashi, a certified metabolic health coach from DLife in, which is
yeah,
India's first and only award-winning low carb platform,
yeah,
founded in 2014 by Anup Singh. Anup Singh is here. He's from IIT, a premier engineering institute from India, and he's a silver medalist and also Icons of India awardee. So Anup also pioneered the low carb movement in India. Anup's groundbreaking concept of 100 grams carb limit per day protocol for low carb diet has helped the management of diabetes, obesity, and various metabolic disorder. And it is more suitable for Indian vegetarians, which are primarily high carb.
yeah.
So also in 2020, he did some groundbreaking work in this instance that he launched a certification course, which is the only approved government of India approved course, and which is having a very large 144 CPD hours. So Anup and me, we both organized this metabolic health conference, India's low carb conference, which is the
Yeah.
first one in 2023, 2024 the second, and now this is the third one in 2025.
Yeah.
So so for the audience, I'll give a brief introduction about Charles. So he has a very impressive profile. So Charles Mattocks is an award-winning actor, director, producer, television host, and a leading health advocate whose priority for health first and saving life does not get his way of excelling in all the areas of the business. A Blue Circle champion for the International Diabetes Association and published author for American Diabetes Association, created and directed and executed, produced several seasons of Reversed, the highly acclaimed documentary film on diabetes, produced Trial by Fire, which is about Mother Rare Earth complex regional pain syndrome, and more than 8 documentaries and series have been released till now, and a lot of new series which is also coming in and which we'll discuss. He has become the premier media expert on health and wellness. Charles entertains, educates, inspires, heals millions ahead of the curve creativity and dedication to excellence in television hosting, content creation, and dynamic advocacy. So, what we are going to discuss is diabetes and the power of storytelling, raising the awareness through film. So, that is
Yeah.
Charles' strength. So, Charles, welcome to India. Welcome to D Life in Metabolic Health Conference.
Thank you for having me. And I have been to Mumbai, and we did some shooting in Mumbai with some local doctors, and it was amazing. We that was part of one of my documentaries, and I had a beautiful time.
When was it?
This was at least probably about 8 years ago.
8 years ago. Okay.
Yeah, I got to get back though. I got to get back.
So Charles, you have created multiple documentaries highlighting the diabetes epidemic and its reversal. What inspired you to take this step?
I was inspired by my own diagnosis. It was probably about 12 years ago, and I thought I was healthy. I was going to the gym. I was working out almost every day. And actually at that time I was making cookbooks that were so-called healthy cookbooks. And I went to the doctor one day, and I was having some symptoms, some frequent urination, and I didn't think anything of it. The last thing I could have ever thought in my life that this was diabetes. And he came back out just from a finger test, and he said, do you have anyone who is diabetic in your family? I said, diabetic? And he said, yeah, I could put you on medication for it. And I thought this wasn't even my doctor. It was a local doctor on a Saturday, a clinic. And I thought, how did I get here? I mean, and how does he just want to put me on medication right away without really finding out what the underlying cause was. Did I, I mean, there were a host of things that could just, be thought of before just putting me on medication. Not there's anything wrong with being on medication, but I had seen my doctor regularly and taking plenty of tests and didn't ever think, didn't get any indications I had diabetes. So I left and went home, and I started to kind of reinvent how to fix myself. And that's really what started on this journey of being an advocate. I then started to direct this beautiful documentary called The Diabetic You that's taken me around the world. I wanted to kind of chronicle my life with diabetes, but then also understand what it was like for others who are dealing with diabetes. And that kind of led one door to another as I started to look at the health industry and the food industry and just all the things that contributed to poor metabolic health and diabetes and obesity and really that's how I got my start. I started reaching out to a bunch of pharmaceutical companies. They believed in what we were doing, and one thing led to another, and we started to create these amazing programs that, as you say, tell stories. So what I wanted to do was have someone be able to sit in the comfort of their own home and watch someone and say, that is me. Wow. But be educated on the television shows that we've created. Be educated by the nutritionists, the diabetes educators, the all the experts that are in the diabetes and cardiovascular world in one home, um, just enjoying each other too as well.
Anup, unmute.
Sorry. Yeah, Charles, your work basically blends, storytelling with science. Now,
Yeah.
in this journey, what has been the most, emotional or eye-opening instances that you have witnessed? More than one would also be fine.
I would say some of the most eye-opening. There are a few of them. One of them I could think of is there was one of the shows that we did. Our first series that we did was in Jamaica, and Lisa, who was a guest, and she brought her husband with her, and Lisa came there ready to make changes. And in storytelling, it's really about allowing those who are living with these conditions to see themselves, to understand the seriousness of this. Because if they don't, they may not take it as serious as they should. So Lisa came there to Jamaica with her husband. Her husband came there, diabetic, amputee, in bad shape, smoking cigarettes as he's getting ready to come to the house. It was so bad one day from his amputation that his leg was so rancid that literally it smelled up the whole room. This is all from diabetes and diabetes complications. Long story short, Lisa went home and she made the changes. She's probably lost about 50, 60 pounds. Sadly, her husband didn't make any changes, and about 3 months later passed away from diabetes complications. I would say some of my time in Jamaica, as we see, countries who may not have the resources and have to deal with, you know, um, poor conditions. There's a lot of diabetes wounds, as far as wound care, not having the people there to treat the wounds. Sometimes people are going, maybe once a month while they're supposed to be going once a week to get the wound redressed because of distance and things like that. And even some of my time in India, where, you see people who are, is a high rate of diabetes in India. And, there are people doing some good work there, but there's just, the lack of being able to educate. So I think that's one of the reasons why I really love what we do is because, and one of the things I would love to do, which I was thinking about for years, is doing a series in India. Because if we did a series in India where we featured the Indian population and Indian experts, how amazing would that be for people to be able to watch from wherever they wanted to watch and be educated in one fall swoop while they can be, at their homes, at their offices, whatever it might be online. So yeah, so I've seen some things that really make you wake up. And while it's diabetes is the culprit, I think that there's a few things that play in that, and I think food addiction is actually one of those as well. And we have to look at that. We're actually working on a series right now on food addiction because when we look at all these GLP-1s that are now on the market and they're making billions of dollars, they're not addressing the root cause, which is a lot of time poor eating habits and food addiction. And that's why they're continuing to lose some weight, gain weight back, get right back on the GLP-1s, lose some weight, get right back on the GLP-1s and gain the weight back. And we know that, unfortunately, these may have some serious consequences in the future with these GLP-1s. So I've seen some things that really have made you say, wow, but it's I think if more people saw them, maybe they would have that same fire to stay healthy because it's very important. Being sick is no fun, and it's important to do simple things that we can do to change that metabolic health.
So till now, based on your filmmaking and experience, what do you think are the biggest misconceptions and myths in the management of diabetes, which keeps them in the vicious cycle of being diabetic for life?
Well, I think, number one is that I think we've been conditioned that we just accept medication. We just get on medication and that's the cure. And we don't have to make any changes once we just get on medication. And so people are on, metformin, they're on, other medications, and they don't change their diet. I met a German guy the other day who has a restaurant, and he's severely diabetic, a ton of complications, has used Ozempic, it didn't work right, and is eating horribly, drinking Coca-Cola and eating poorly. So I think that people think that once you get on medication, that is the fix. And we know it's not. Diabetes is progressive. It goes after and destroys every organ in the body. So I think that poor education when it comes to, let's say, doctors who aren't trained in nutrition, they can't really give nutritional advice, right? If you're just not, you just can't say, hey, change your diet, come back and see me in 3 months, or eat more salad. So I think that doctors actually need to be a little bit more trained in nutrition. And I think, to be honest, programs like what we create, if they were, let's say, endorsed or sponsored by the government, which is a small amount, you guys could be doing what you do just in the same way you've created this amazing platform, but doing a television series that could actually reach millions of people, where we could actually really educate people. I think we need to do that. But as far as misconceptions, is that that you definitely need to control your weight management. I think people don't even consider that at times when they have diabetes, and it's very easy to tell someone to do those things. And when you see that those make those changes regarding weight, they end up in such a better place. So yeah.
Anup, you're muted.
Yeah, before I get to question, it's heartening to know that you are planning to do some series in India.
Yeah.
And whenever you start it, I can promise you there would be no shortage of storytellers in this space, because we have, many of us have lived through this life for decades.
Yeah.
1 decade,
Yeah.
close to 1 decade, you have three, and 8 years, 9 years. I mean, that's what I wanted to, pass on the message. Now, the question is, you must have collaborated with a lot of experts while working in this space, right?
Yeah.
So, what is the most, revolutionary approach that you came across to manage diabetes?
Yeah, we have done television shows on both ketogenic, and also on carnivore. I've worked with everyone from Jason Fung, who is a guru in the space of intermittent fasting, where we, utilize intermittent fasting and ketogenic, and also carnivore, because obviously, having a low carb or at times no carb, and not even vegetables. There's been a lot of studies on these things that have shown tremendous benefits to both. And I think at the end of the day, it's as far as revolutionary or anything of that, it's really about you also have to have a form of vanity. And what I mean by that is I look in the mirror every day, and while we may talk about diabetes on so many levels, I look in the mirror every day and I say, I want to look like I was when I was 18 years old. And whether it's me gaining weight or having excess weight, and then looking at myself and saying, I've got to make a change. I want to look good for myself. And it's not just about being overweight per se, but we know that a lot of diabetes is found in the gut. But it's about even addressing the fact that we want to be here for our loved ones, right? I got kids I want to live for. I got a beautiful family that I want to live for. I don't want to die early from complications of diabetes. So I think once we kind of put those simple things into someone and make them understand their why, then we can, and that's what a lot of our shows have done. We kind of make them understand their why, because we all know what we should and shouldn't be eating. When we pick up that fast food, we know we shouldn't be doing it. But if we make them understand their why and let them know how important they are, whether big or small, and that they are loved and that they mean something, that they have something to contribute to society, I think maybe then people will say, you know what, I've got to eat what's right. I've got everything that goes into my mouth should be accounted for, should be accounted for. So while there might be revolutionary things, I think at the end of the day, let's strip it down to, hey, you know what? Eat right. Let's do the right thing, because we want to be here for our family, for our loved ones, for our children, for our wives, for our husbands. And if it's based on what we put in our mouth, we got to make better choices.
And for your information, Anup here, so he's on 40, he has completed 14 years pill-free diabetes.
Wow.
And me more than 9 years, almost
Wow.
9.5 years.
That's why I said, you will not find shortage of storytellers the moment you step into India.
And now what I want to know is, you have created so many documentaries, films. Have you ever faced any resistance, any pushback from either medical organizations or doctors, or any front for the matter?
Yeah, of course. I mean, our first series was done, I forget how many years ago, but it was called Reversed. And it wasn't about reversing diabetes. It was about reversing the mental, physical, emotional state of us as people so that we would make better choices. And I remember, and so back then, which was, let's just say 7 years ago or 8 years ago, um, they didn't want to talk about reversing diabetes. That was taboo. So so I got a ton of pushback on the name Reverse, and I would even tell people who would interview me. I remember one big reporter from some big diabetes magazine, and I said, "Listen, it's not about reversing diabetes. Please don't put that in there." And I said, "It's about reversing the mental state, the emotional state, and then allowing the person to make changes." And of course, what did they do? Put it in there as trying to reverse type 2 diabetes. When we shot the film in Jamaica, for whatever reason, the sponsor, which was a diabetic foot ulcer company too as well, Shire, a big biopharmaceutical company, had the idea to send some big Fierce Farmer, the big online publication. I forget the name of it. It was a big publication. He sent them there, and they literally must have been just on an attack job. And they spent like 2 days just watching this film and pretty much destroyed us. for no reason, and I don't know if they had it out for mankind, which makes Afrezza the inhaled insulin. So yeah, it was definitely pushback. But then also, I think that when I came into it, I was so excited because I thought, wow, we're gonna make a show called Reverse. It's gonna help people with their diabetes and other comorbidities. And I thought, man, I'm gonna reach out to this company or that pharma company or this company, and they're gonna love it. And then only to realize that that makes no sense. Us talking about reversing diabetes or helping, control blood sugar without, medication or blood pressure without medication. So, when I was all, starry-eyed thinking that, this was going to be a beautiful thing that I can just create all these amazing shows and be supported by these companies, I realized that's not the case. They're not looking to cure people from diabetes. And now they don't even have to advertise, right? And they don't, right? Because it's like if you have the only gas station within 100 miles, you don't have to advertise. They're gonna come to you regardless. And Big Pharma knows, and I work with them, but Big Pharma knows they don't have to put any real effort into getting the word out or helping people because every year there are going to be millions of people diagnosed anyhow. So definitely got some pushback, but we just kept going. And now the word reversed is the thing to talk about. You have big companies that have, created, have thousands of members or that are part of their business that help reverse type 2 diabetes.
So,
No.
carrying forward, India has the highest number of diabetics. In fact, is the diabetes capital of the world right now.
Yeah.
But yet, everything is on pill-driven approach, and that is because high carb, low fat diet has been
Yeah.
called the balanced and good for everyone diet. So, what lessons from your work can an Indian take, to reverse his or her condition? And I'm saying
Yeah.
reverse. Yeah, please. I'm saying reverse without any fear because when I say I have reversed my diabetes, I
Yeah.
say until or unless somebody tells me where is the science of eating
Yeah.
60% carbohydrate, I will call it
Yeah.
reversed. Right.
Of course. I love that. I call it the same thing without any fear. But I would say that, if we could do a series on in India, I think that it could save millions of lives. And these are a few simple tweaks. This is not having to even at times get rid of everything that you love. You don't have to start eating, cardboard or wood, as someone living with diabetes and other comorbidities, is that with some simple changes, whether it's increasing, some exercise, whether it's, focusing on losing weight naturally, whether it's drinking, water instead of soda, which we know that, whether it's in the Caribbean or Asia, that soda is, Coca-Cola plays a big risk factor in these things, whether it's cutting back on the rice. I mean, I'm from the Caribbean, and we this is a staple. It's rice and potatoes and carbs and things like that that kind of put us in this bad place and have us as, especially in Jamaica and where I'm from, they have the highest rate in the Caribbean of amputations, and it's based on our diet. So being able to make simple changes, whether you're in India or in the Caribbean, to our diet, eating smaller portions, practicing intermittent fasting. I fast for very long hours a day. At times, I eat one meal a day, and it's really pretty much protein based, and I'm fantastic and fine with that. So you'll see, your energy start to increase. You'll see your activity start to increase. You won't feel bloated. I remember recently, I was trying to race my little 14-year-old daughter because she was in track. And I remember thinking, because I used to be the fastest kid when I was in high school, and this little 14-year-old is beating me in a race, and I'm like, hold on, I got to lose some weight here. I got to get it together. I'm not saying I'm ever going to be as fast as she is right now, as when I was in high school, but I want to feel good like that. And a lot of us at times, because of this extra weight that we're carrying, and because of these conditions, we don't feel good. You're not feeling the way you should. That's why I say vanity is a part of this too as well, because you got to be a little bit vain and say, you know what? No, I want to feel good. I want to look good. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know?
See, India is basically a very high grain based diet.
Yeah.
Our 60, 70, 80% plate is filled with grain. And it's the
Yeah.
cultural thing which has been going around for quite some time. Of course, now we have replaced all the healthy fats with all vegetable oil. And then lot of sugary stuff, processed food have
Yeah.
also come in. So
Yeah.
do you think, in your experience, if you have worked in various countries, various culture, do you think a cultural shift is possible? Because in India, again, it is a low protein diet. And
Yeah.
for reversal of diabetes, we need to lower carb and increase protein. Our
Yeah.
per capita meat consumption is very, very less, negligible. Even consumption of egg is negligible, not even one egg per capita.
Yeah.
So do you think such a cultural change is possible? If so, how?
I really do. You know, and I hate to keep talking about the show, but you know, there have been how many countless, whether it's in India or United States, they're always trying to think of ways to reach people with diabetes, and it's splintered, so it's not cohesive, right? So, you know, in America, they may say if they're trying to reach the black population with diabetes, they say, oh yeah, we're gonna maybe want to reach the barber shops where you get your hair cut, or we can reach the churches, or but you know, it's this company spending, you know, a lot of money to do some little small activation that nobody will see in that little town or city that won't really, you know, cross into other places. I think if you're going to reach people cohesively and get a message out there, once again, I go back to the television show, a show that could reach millions of people. And then now you don't have to do this little event here where you have 200 people or 50 people or 100 people here or 20 people there. You can create something that can be engaging and entertaining, but also informational. So I think that you have to get the messaging together first and let it be a united front, or else we're going to be talking about this for the next 100 years until they may come up with some the magic pill that just helps with everything per se. But um it, and instead of spending money here, there, near on all of these things, it could be something that once again creates an energy for people to be able to watch something and watch. Because can you imagine with all the dynamic people in India, whether it's the experts or the potential guests, how dynamic and engaging this show could be as you see them living together for a few days or a week in a house and learning and being educated, but also understanding the issues that they're going through, the ups, the downs. You see them laugh, you see them cry, you see them learn together. Now, that's something somebody wants to see. And then you could have a CTA, which is a call to action. What's the next step? Well, we have these clinics, we have these people who are here to help you, these diabetes educators who are here to help you along your course. And here are some healthy tips as far as eating. So instead of eating this, eat that, and you could still have the great taste. I mean, you know, I'm from the Caribbean. I love me some chicken curry, some curry chicken, some curry goat. You know, we know that you know in India they love curries too. Well, you could have curry, and you could have your curry chicken, but maybe instead of the rice, you substitute it with some salad, substitute it with some cucumbers, some whatever it might be. It's just simple things.
Yeah,
So
one of
there
the
can be a shift.
yeah, Charles, one of the issues, is low income group. Their
Yeah,
access to primary, premium healthcare, I would say, is very limited. They cannot.
yeah.
So how do we, address that segment of population and help them to reverse diabetes?
Well, we know that it's expensive to be sick, right?
Yeah.
So while they may not have access to maybe even the best foods, they may not have access to healthcare the way they should. I think that that's exactly who we're targeting by saying that, you know what? at times McDonald's costs more money than going out and buying yourself something decent to cook, right? So when we're talking about these things, it's really about, once again, practicing of the intermittent fasting and eating it less portions, so you don't have to eat as much or feel that you need to eat as much. And then, you're going to cook, get yourself some quality food, whether it's eggs or something of that nature that's more protein based. And I think allowing them to be more educated allows them to not have to deal with healthcare as much, because they are going to be healthier. So I think that there's definitely something in this for them too as well, that they can truly benefit from, because if they're the ones who are suffering and not being able to get their diabetic wounds dressed once a week, but once every month or once every 2 months, if they're dealing with other cardiovascular issues that come from diabetes, that eating a healthier, having a healthier way of life is actually showing them that we care, because we want to make sure that they don't have to deal with these conditions that cost a lot of money to deal with and that are just burdensome to life and to their life extension and to their families. So I think that's actually the way we're doing it is actually more in line with showing that we actually care about the people.
Do you have any upcoming projects, especially on diabetes, or it may not be diabetes, it could be any other illness
Yeah.
or illness?
Yeah, we're working on a series right now on menopause. So this is going to be the first ever series that we're going to shoot, where we bring 5 women together who are dealing with menopause, and we're going to bring some amazing, well-known experts together to kind of just live together for a few days and have them share and open up and cry and laugh and learn. Then we have a food addiction series that we're working on too as well, because I myself suffer from a food addiction. And, just realized it, not too long ago, where my eating habits and very unhealthy eating options. And even though I'm all about health, I found myself, doing some things where I felt like a conflicted, like a hypocrite. So, when you fight that and you're able to win through that, everything changes. So we're working on a food addiction series, and then we also are working on a series called Reverse the Church, where we're going to go into a well-known church to help change the health of a whole congregation. So it's like going into the temple, and if there's 1,000 people in that temple, that you're able to go into that temple and help change the health of everyone who is in that place. And so we wanted to kind of show what it could be like on a bigger scale, instead of just 1 or 2 people or 5 or 15 people, but show on a bigger scale how we can change the health of masses amounts of people through faith-based initiatives.
Thank you. And what is your message to India?
Say it again.
Your message to India.
I had such an amazing time the first time. The doctors were open their arms to me. They took me. There was one hospital, I think I went to, a clinic that I went to, or hospital that, wanted to do some work with us and get behind us. I actually had someone reach out to me too the other day. He's in India. It's a big company. He's a big time head of this company in India, and wanted to work with me. And I told him, hey, you know what? I'd love for them to be a part of this, and so we can do something in India. And I would say that, it's a proud and beautiful people. I had such an amazing time there the first time. We filmed some powerful scenes there that are in the documentary. I would love to come back and help create a series that we could create for the people of India, that could help, be a portal for change and education and inspiration. So I would love to continue these conversations and hopefully one day make this a reality.
Thank you, Charles. Your story is such an inspiration that your own suffering, you have changed that, you have healed yourself, and your storytelling and amazing films are healing the world. So not only
Yeah.
in your place, but it's across the globe. And thank you very much.
Yeah.
And whenever you want any other help in India, so we have amazing story. We have amazing people with us who can always help.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anup.
Thank you, Charles. It was nice interacting and hope to see you soon in India.
Thank you so much. Have a great one.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Good night.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Good day. Ira.